If you've ever seen progress with your fitness and then you sabotage yourself and you wonder, why does that happen and how do I stop it? I put this video together just for you. In this video, I'm gonna show you the hidden identity trap that's quietly ruining your fitness and how to finally replace it with a system that lets the new you stick without burnout, willpower, or pretending. You don't need another training plan. You don't need another macro calculator. You don't even need more motivation. What you need to do is kill the version of you that can't survive the body, the health, and the life that you say you want. Because if your identity doesn't match your ambition, your nervous system will sabotage everything you build and it will call it just being tired or burnout. I'll start over again Monday. Your brain has one priority, consistency. It would rather protect an old, outdated version of you than embrace a new one it doesn't recognize. So you start making progress, the workouts are clicking, you're eating better, and right when the momentum picks up, you pull back. Not because you're scared of failure, but because feeling good in your body feels like a betrayal of who you've always been. Before we get into that, have you ever wondered why every breakthrough feels followed by a breakdown? Let's start there with the identity trap. The real reason most gay men never build the body or the health they want, it's nothing to do with the program, not even lack of time or knowledge or the right split or the right diet. It's because they're trying to build a body while dragging around an outdated identity of someone who doesn't belong there. It's like trying to sprint with ankle weight you forgot you were wearing. The moment things start working, some hidden part of you pulls the brakes, not because you hate progress, but because it doesn't match the person who you still believe you are. The strongest psychological force in humans, it's not desire, it's consistency. You will subconsciously act, react, delay, and distort anything that violates the image you've anchored as you, even when you say you want to get in shape. If your internal model still sees you as the guy who's always out of shape, always starting over, always the before photo, you'll create just enough chaos to keep that story intact. And for gay men specifically, this runs even deeper. We grow up in a culture that weaponizes the body. You're either too fat, too skinny, too femme, too much, not enough. By the time most of us walk into a gym, we're not just carrying weight on our bodies, we're carrying years of shame, comparison, and a relationship with our own reflection that was never neutral to begin with. So when you try to change, you're not just fighting old habits, you're fighting a self-image that was built inside a community that's as brutal about our bodies as it is beautiful. You start going to the gym consistently, but you still see yourself as someone who doesn't go to the gym. You feel you don't belong there, and it feels foreign, forced, maybe even fake. Eventually, your nervous system drags you back into alignment with your default self-image. That's identity resistance. If you don't resolve it, you keep creating upper limits and false start, burnout cycles that feel like bad luck, but are actually just identity maintenance in disguise. You tell yourself you lack discipline or consistency, but really, your system's just trying to avoid emotional whiplash of becoming someone your nervous system doesn't recognize yet. Your current identity has kept you safe. It keeps you accepted. It kept you from sticking out. So anything that threatens it, even something better, gets treated as risk. Most people don't even know what identity they're operating from. It shows up in how you talk about your body, whether you take your shirt off at the beach, whether you show up to the gym when no one's watching, how you handle a compliment, how quickly you quit when results slow down. Look at your routines. Look at your relationships, your gym consistency. It's all an echo of identity, a self-image. Even painful identities serve a function. Being the fat guy who's working on it gives you something to hide behind. Being the one who's not really into the gym keeps you safe from judgment. Being the perpetual beginner means you never fully have to show up. The story becomes a drug because it's predictable, comfortable, familiar. You might hate it, but at least you know how to live inside of it. This is why program hopping is mostly useless without identity work underneath. You buy the plan, you follow it for 2 weeks, you get results, and then you stop. Not because the program failed, because the results started to contradict who you believe you are. The only way out is to build a new identity scaffold, one that can actually hold the version of you you're aiming for, the pattern that repeats itself. If it feels like you keep hitting the same wall, starting strong, losing steam, falling off, restarting, it's because you are. It's not bad luck. It's not the program. It's not your genetics. It's the pattern. There's a specific rhythm running underneath your fitness life, shaped by your identity. That keeps producing the same outcomes no matter what tactics you try. Till you identify it and interrupt it, it will keep looping. You're not stuck because of what you're doing. You're stuck because of what you're repeating. You've trained your nervous system, emotions, thought patterns, and your behavior to dance to a very specific tempo. And it's so familiar, you don't even hear the music anymore. Same spiral every time. You get inspired, you start, you feel good, then one bad week, one missed session, one night of eating off plan, and you treat it like the whole thing is ruined. You go to the gym for 2 weeks. You tell yourself you'll reset on Monday. Monday becomes next month becomes next year. That's not weakness, that's a loop. And the loop has structure. For a lot of gay men, that loop is tied to all or nothing thinking, a very specific kind of perfectionism that says if it's not clean, it's dirty. If it's not perfect, it's a failure. And that thinking doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from spending years in spaces where you felt like your body was being graded. The only way to stop the pattern is to do something the current version of you would never do. Not something big, something unfamiliar, something small but out of character. Like going to the gym when you don't feel like it, eating a meal that supports you without making it a personality trait, asking for help from a friend without performing confidence you don't have, saying no to social situations that derail you. It will feel wrong, it will feel fake, but it's not a sign to stop. That's the sign the loop's finally been disrupted. One disruption isn't enough. The loop is strong. You have to install new patterns and reinforce them until they start to feel normal. Identity doesn't change when you believe in a new version of yourself. It changes when you behave like them often enough that your nervous system catches up. The brain that won't let you change. Now, you're not crazy if you find this hard, and you're not broken. You're just wired for sameness, and we all are. Your brain doesn't care about your 6-month goal. It cares about keeping you alive, and the best way to do that is to predict what happens next. That means even positive change can feel like danger if it's unfamiliar. That's why even self-destructive patterns feel comforting. Skipping the gym still gives your brain a reward, certainty. Even if you feel worse, you know what's coming. If you spent years seeing yourself as someone who's out of shape or as someone who's almost there but never quite arrives, then suddenly you start looking and feeling genuinely different, your brain raises a red flag. Not is this good, but does this match our story? And if it doesn't match, it fights back. This is where the concept of Bayesian updating becomes useful. It's a principle from probability theory, the idea that we update our beliefs based on new evidence. You start with a prior belief about yourself, then as the new data comes in, you don't throw out the old belief all at once. You adjust it gradually with each new experience. And every time you act like the future version of yourself, you give your brain new evidence, and slowly your system starts treating the identity not as aspirational, but as normal. Most people don't give themselves enough reps of the new behavior, so their brain has no reason to believe the change is real. But when the evidence piles up day by day, choice by choice, the old belief starts to lose credibility. Your brain eventually says, okay, maybe this is who we are now. You'll know it's working when this starts to feel weirdly uncomfortable. You'll feel like a fraud, like you're faking it. You don't deserve to feel good in your body yet. That discomfort is the death rattle of your old identity. Let it burn. Keep going anyway. You're not building confidence. You're building consistency. And that's a different game. Identity is built like a muscle through resistance, repetition, and rest. You don't think your way into a new body, and you don't think your way into a new identity either. Your nervous system responds to what you do, not what you say. Every aligned choice is a vote for the future you, not just metaphorically, but neurologically. You don't need to overhaul your whole life. You just need to win enough small bets that the scale tips. Identity doesn't evolve in isolation. You can't just decide who you want to be and snap into it. You need a system, a structure that catches the new behaviors before they collapse under the weight of the old patterns. You can't white knuckle your way into a new body or a new self, but you can rig the game. If you keep trying to build a new identity without changing the old inputs, you'll always default back to the same baseline. You say you're someone who trains now, but your evenings are unstructured. Your kitchen isn't set up for success. You've never blocked gym time in your calendar. Your system is still built for the old you. And when the system fails, you don't think my structure didn't work. You think I must not be the kind of person who can do this. That failure gets internalized as identity. So build a system that removes the friction. Stack your new behaviors onto things that already exist. You already make coffee in the morning. Lay your gym kit out the night before so your first decision of the day is already made. Prep one meal ahead so that when you're tired and hungry, the aligned choice is the easy choice. Your environment should be coated with signals that remind you of who you're becoming. What do you see when you wake up? What's in your fridge? What's on your phone? Every input is either reinforcing the old self-image or helping anchor the new one. There's no neutral signal. The system should also actively block the old patterns. If your social calendar is the thing that derails you every weekend, then. That's not a willpower problem. That's a design problem. Solve it like an engineer. Track your actions like data, not evidence of your worth. Did you execute on that identity today? Yes or no? That's it. Not am I good or bad, just did I show up? Do not underestimate ritual. Choose one repeatable action you do every single day, not for the results, but for proof. Training when you said you would. Cooking the meal you planned. Showing up to the gym, even when it's 30 minutes and low energy. These aren't just habits, they're signals that align your nervous system to the new you, reinforce that identity, and don't do it alone. Social transformation is exponential. When other people witness your evolution, it reflects back to you. It cements faster. The right people don't just encourage you, they expect the new you to show up. And that expectation creates momentum. The environment finishes the job. You've done the thinking, you've started the rewiring, but now comes the part nobody talks about. Most identity shifts die in the dark. Not because the idea wasn't strong enough, not because the system did not make sense. They die because the environment didn't change. You can make progress during the day, but if by night you're back in spaces or around people who still treat your ambition like a phase, who normalize skipping, who bond over hating the gym, who use food as the glue for every social interaction, that weight adds up. And eventually, you start negotiating with it. You start turning down your own standards just to keep up the peace. For gay men, this can take a very specific shape. The scene, the culture, the way some circles revolve around late nights, substances, a kind of body image conversation that swings between obsession and nihilism. Neither of those is a container that supports relief. Neither of those is a container that supports real, sustainable change. It's not about judgment, it's about mirrors. Your environment reflects back a version of you, and if every mirror around you still shows the old you, it's impossible to fully believe in the new one, no matter how much internal work that you've done. But what happens when the mirrors change? When you're around people who are also doing the work, who expect you to show up, who don't flinch at your ambition, who treat becoming as the new normal, that's when identity stops being an uphill battle and starts becoming momentum. You become who you're around. If you're around people building something, you build. If you're around people who've made peace with their bodies and their health, you start making peace too. And if you're around people who show up for themselves consistently, that becomes the baseline, not the exception. You don't need more information, you need a different room. Here's what we covered today: the identity trap. You're not failing because of your program, you're failing because you're trying to build a new body inside an old self-image. The pattern that repeats. It's not bad luck, it's a loop, and loops can be interrupted. The brain that resists change. Your nervous system isn't broken, it's just updating slowly. Give it enough new evidence and it will catch up. The system. Rig your environment, your routines, and your inputs to make the new you the path of least resistance. The environment. Surround yourself with mirrors that reflect who you're becoming, not who you've been. Your action items for today. Stop chasing the perfect program and start rewriting the internal system that either allows or rejects it. Identity before strategy. Apply Bayesian updating daily. Let every aligned action, no matter how small, be the new evidence that the old version of you is being replaced. And finally, find or build an environment that makes this real. The right community doesn't let you coast, lie, or shrink because they're too busy becoming unrecognizable themselves. You do not need more goals. You need to become someone for whom the goal is just normal. Don't forget to subscribe.